Excited about what God has for us this morning. We're going to be in the book of John, chapter 13. That's going to be our primary text. We'll look at some others. But I want to talk this morning about cultivating a pastoral culture. Actually, we'll be talking about this for the next few weeks. It's such an important thing. And I need some batteries. Actually, I don't, but I do need I thought I had a cord up here. But anyway, when the battery goes dead on my iPad, we'll close in prayer. Some of you are like, I hope he's at like 11%. Yeah. Anyway. Pastoral culture. That's what we're after. That's what we want to cultivate here at the pasture. And you say, Mick, what do you mean by that? I'll just sort of read what we have written in our key points of vision, since that's what we're preaching through. It might seem to us like a good thing to have a large pastoral staff. You know, how great it would be to have a solid and capable pastor that was overseeing each and every facet of ministry at the pasture. Many churches do. It's amazing how many staff members are on the payroll at some churches, and that's not a bad thing. And when you've got so many pastors running all of the various elements of a program at a church, it may seem like what you have is a well-oiled machine. And undoubtedly, there are churches that function very smoothly, and I think that's great. But here's the danger. The danger in that is when the staff is doing all the lifting, then the congregation never increases its strength. Like if I had a personal trainer, use your imagination, and I went to the gym with my personal trainer and watched my personal trainer work out, do all the lifts, do all the cardio, do all the whatever you do at the gym. I would watch him get strong, but I would not be strengthened myself. Does that make sense? Stands to reason. This is the danger in a church that is staff heavy, if you will. The vocational pastors do all the lifting, and the congregants never increase in strength. And we might see that incredibly well-oiled machine, but it doesn't seem to be producing anything useful or valuable. What sometimes results then are churches with spiritual products to meet every felt need of the members of the congregation. But again, the problem there is that where there are products, there are consumers. Right? What if instead of building a substantial pastoral staff, and I'm not saying that we don't need the right people in the right seats on the bus in terms of staffing, but what if instead of that, what if instead of putting all of our energy and effort and resource into vocational staff at a church, what if we focused our energy and efforts on the perpetuation of a pastoral culture? A culture in which the members of the bride of Christ, which is the church, we're encouraged and equipped to step up and meet the needs of each other, and to love each other in, dare I say it, supernatural ways. What if we acted like sheep and shepherds at the same time? What if we truly engaged in spurring one another on toward love and good works, as the writer of Hebrews encourages us, rather than tasking the paid professionals with making sure that everybody in the church was getting everything they asked for from the church? What if What if we had a pastoral culture at the pasture? John chapter 13, I want us to look at a few verses beginning in verse 31. Jesus has brought the disciples together for what we know as the Last Supper, the last Passover meal. He, as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and the servant of servants, has washed their feet. And he's called out Judas, who was about to betray him. And he comes to this in verse 31. When he'd gone out, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and glorify him at once." What's he talking about? He's talking about the imminence of the crucifixion that's coming. This is the hour. When we think about glory, we don't think about things like crucifixion, but this is how the Son of Man was about to be glorified, by being lifted up on a cross, by shedding his blood to pay the penalty for the sins of all mankind for all time, once and for all, so that relationship with God could be restored. This is the glory of which he speaks. And Jesus says, "Little children, yet a little while I am with you." Not going to be here much longer, kids. You can hear the endearment. "You will seek me, and just as I said to the Jews, so now I also say to you that where I am going, you cannot come." Can you imagine hearing that from somebody that you had spent the vast majority of your time with over the course of the last 3 years? "Hey, this has been great, guys, but I'm leaving and you cannot come with me." So he says, with that in mind, verse 34, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another." That's pastoral. "By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." "Yet a little while I'm with you. Where I'm going, you can't come." Jesus is preparing them. He's like, hey, just because I am leaving doesn't mean that the mission and the culture that I have been involved in creating amongst you can't continue and thrive and flourish. But here's the thing, there's a new commandment. And it is a command. A pastoral culture is not something that we kind of opt into or opt out of. This is what Jesus intends for us as a church. It's a commandment from him, and he says it's new. Not that it's new as a concept. Love was not a new concept, but think of it this way. It's something that's being refreshed. It has now become the priority. To this point, maybe it was about religion, maybe it was about ritual, maybe it was about all the things that they had to do, all the rules they had to follow, all the sacrifices, all the ceremonial stuff. I mean, this is why Jesus said, hey, come to me. all you who labor. What's he talking about? People that are splitting wood and digging ditches? No, he's talking about everybody that's trying to be religious enough to please God. Jesus says, come to me, you that are weary and so heavy laden, so burdened by all this, and what will I give you? I'll give you rest. And Jesus is like, hey, I'm leaving, and here is what I want of you. This is the priority that you need to maintain as you move forward. I want you to love one another. This isn't a new concept. It's refreshed. It's prioritized. It's not religion, but rather it's relationship. We talk about that so much here at the pasture. And the love is not merely a feeling of affection. It's a commitment to action. Love is not a feeling. It's a decision. It's a commitment. This is what Jesus is saying. It's not that warm and fuzzy feeling that we get when we're around attractive people. It's not just the hugs and the handshakes in the lobby on Sunday morning. Jesus was on the cusp of the most significant love action of all time. He was going to die for the sins of the world, not just for those who loved him, not just for those who spent time with him, but for everyone, even those who despised him. This is who Jesus was about to die for. This was love in action. And this is the brand of agape love that defines a pastoral culture. It's not always warm and fuzzy with people that are likable. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we have to love people we don't really like. I said it. Not contingent. And it's the responsibility of every believer. We're to be sheep, yes. We're to receive from the Lord, yes. We're to be cared for by the Lord, but he doesn't stop there. He has poured into his sheep so that his sheep can pour into others as shepherds. So if you're of the mindset this morning that, hey, this whole shepherding gig, it's for the professionals, I want you to get out of that mindset. Shepherding is what God has called you to as a disciple of his. Not just disciples who soak everything in, but disciples who, when squeezed, having soaked so much in, pour into others as disciple makers. We're trying here at the pasture to make disciples who will make more disciples who will make more disciples. We'll talk about this in a few weeks. It's the right kind of math. It's not just for those of us who do this vocationally. And the other thing I love about Jesus is that he does all of this in relational context. We look at the Gospels. We look at how Jesus interacted with the 12. And notice it wasn't a huge group. It's not that he never spoke to large groups, but the investment he was making was in 12. Relationally, they did life together. They didn't just gather for 45 minutes or an hour and a half on Sunday morning. They were with each other all the time. So we see it in the gospel accounts of Jesus and the 12, but we also see it, we talked about this in the book of Acts chapter 2, in the early church as Jesus has ascended and the Spirit has descended and power has come on to the people, and they were together and they were learning and they were sharing and they were loving, and God was adding to their number as people were being saved. It's a beautiful thing, but it's very relational. So in the text, we have this command. It's a new command that God has given us. It's a reprioritization of love. It's fresh. It's not religious, it's relational in its context. Here's the second thing I see in the text. Not only do we have the command, but we have a model. I know some of you men might not want to admit this, but if we're honest with ourselves, it's always good when we're trying to build something to have some instructions or a model, isn't it? Then, I got this, I can handle this. You ever go to IKEA? Not only do you need instructions, but you need a bottle of ibuprofen and some real tools. No, we need a model. Here's the good news for us as disciples of Jesus, as those who have been tasked with this new commandment of being pastoral culturally. Jesus is the model. There's no better model for us. It's a model that's rooted in God's character. We all are familiar with the 23rd Psalm. At least that's an assumption I am going to make for most of us. You know, we hear it at funerals, or maybe we hear it quoted, or we see it on a plaque or an accounted cross stitch or whatever. But it's so amazing. The Lord is my shepherd. Okay, we're supposed to be pastoral. We're supposed to be shepherds, not just sheep. How do we do that? The Lord is my shepherd. What does that mean? You read the psalm, he feeds, he leads, he protects, he restores. This is all a part of the character of God as our shepherd. And Jesus, of course, is our model in this. In fact, let's turn back a couple of pages in the Bible to John chapter 10. I love this text, and Jesus is again talking to those followers of his, and he's also kind of squaring off with some of the Jews and the Pharisees who are a little more steeped in religion. He says this, beginning in verse 1, "Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in by another way, that man is a thief and a robber." You want to know how you tell who's the shepherd? He comes in through the gate. He doesn't climb the wall. If he's climbing the wall, he's there to do something nefarious. He talks about all of this. He who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep, and to him the gatekeeper opens. And the sheep, they hear his voice. There's that familiar voice. And he calls his own sheep by name. There's the personal, relational element. Not only is Jesus just like, hey, yeah, I'm the shepherd. I got a bunch of sheep. No, he knows them by name. Better than I can say for myself here at the pasture. I'm so thankful for Facebook sometimes. It's like, who was that? Somebody just talked to me out in public, and I thought I was meeting a total stranger, and they told me they've been coming to the pasture for 8 months. That's happened to you? I'm sorry. Just have a hard time remembering names and faces. Not Jesus, he's the good shepherd. Look at verse 7. Jesus again said to them, "Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door. Not only am I the shepherd, but I'm the gate." Nobody's coming into this fold, into this flock of sheep, except through me. I'm the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes to steal and to kill and destroy. I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. I am the good shepherd. This is the model. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Oh, I was aboard until you said that, Jesus. That's what you're modeling? Yep, that's what he's modeling. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and he leaves the sheep and flees. Makes sense? The wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he's a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. But I am the good shepherd, Jesus reiterates. I know my own, And my own know me, just as the Father knows me. And I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. This is the model. I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock and one shepherd. And for this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. And no one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. In other words, nobody's going to haul me off in chains against my will. I love you so much as my sheep that I will willingly lay my life down. Think of it. This is the shepherd model. The effect it has on the people, there was division among the Jews because of these words. Some things never change. But Jesus models this for us. He's relational. He knows the sheep. He loves them. I'm reminded of what we read in Matthew chapter 9 when the Bible tells us that Jesus was moved with compassion when he looked out on all the people and they were confused and they were led astray, and his heart was breaking for them. Why? Because he loved them as a shepherd. And as the church, we are representative of this pastoral love. If Christ is so caring as our shepherd, then we as his sheep, as his church, must be caring also. As Christ loved, so also must I love. We see non-pastoral, sort of cold and uncaring churches around. I'm always floored by the stories I hear from people that come to the pasture as they're recounting maybe their other experiences at other churches, or maybe the trauma that they experienced at another church. I just am like, well, how can you call yourself a church? How can you call yourself the bride or the body of Christ and treat people this way? Those uncaring, non-pastoral cultures are a misrepresentation of Christ. That's why being a pastoral culture as a church is not just a practical issue, it's a theological issue. Because we are representing the very character of God in the way that we are loving each other. So there's the command, there's the model. The other thing I see in the text is the distinction. This is amazing to me. Back in chapter 13, look at verse 35. He says this: by this, all people will know that you are my disciples. ... Now, we could fill in the blank there. By this they'll know, because I go to church every week. Because I dress up in my Sunday best when I go to church every week. Because I speak spiritual language. I am proficient in Christianese, so they'll know. Because I give money in the plate. That's how they'll know that I'm a disciple. Jesus is like, no, it's none of that. Here's how they'll know that you are one of my disciples. They'll know if they see you genuinely loving each other. say, well, Mick, that's too simple. Oh, simple in concept for sure. But you and I both know how hard it is to look past self and to love each other the way that Jesus Christ has poured out his love on us. It's not easy to do. It's a reflection of the gospel, of the good news of the gospel, that Jesus would love us enough to lay down his life to rescue us, to pay a price that we could not pay, so that we could enjoy eternity with him, in relationship with him. It's a reflection of the gospel. It's sacrificial in its nature. Jesus in John 10 was like, I lay down my life willingly for my sheep. That's the model. So who are you laying your life down for? You say, well, Mick, it's not always convenient. I know. Well, Mick, they don't really like me in return. I get it. I got plenty of them in my life. My flesh says, well, just don't like them back. Just don't answer the phone. Just don't respond to the text. Just don't make a defense of yourself publicly. But we have to love. We have to make a sacrifice. It's also unconditional in its application. Jesus loved those who were unfaithful and unloving to him. A pastoral culture loves even those who are difficult to love. I got messages from people this week saying, we're looking for churches, we're looking for a church where we can attend and feel like we're accepted. You know, we're new to the community and we've tried a couple of churches and nobody speaks to us. We got one that said, we have a child with severe special needs and we felt unwelcome everywhere we go. Come on to the pasture. Sorry, I invited him. Buckle up, start loving, start getting pastoral. We're not conditioning it on anything. Well, they don't have any money to put in the offering. I don't care, come on. They can't teach Sunday school class. That's okay, come on. Man, they got a reputation in town. Awesome, bring it. I've said it before, and God forgive me for saying it. I'm just sick of church people. Give me the outcast. I'm not going to apologize. That's what Jesus said. That's right. You Pharisees, you hypocrites, you religious uppity-ups, whatever. You're like whitewashed tombs. You look all pretty and neat and nice on the outside, and your Sunday school ribbons are all pressed, and you're all ready to go, and you know the Bible, and you can judge of the earth. He says, listen, on the inside, you're full of dead men's bones. Lord, send us the ones that are an absolute mess. I'll feel more comfortable with them. That's what love's about. That's what being a pastoral culture is about. We see somebody walk in and it's clear they haven't been here before and they're in unfamiliar territory. Greet them with a cup of coffee. Ask them what their name is. Introduce them to some people. Make them feel like they belong here because they do belong here. That's pastoral. That's relational. That's not religious. We're distinct. We're catalyzed by Christ's care for us. You see, gospel-rooted care produces a gospel-saturated culture. What does that mean for you? That means that you better be in touch with how good the news is for you. And I better be in touch also. Because without Jesus, it's dark for me. And what I have to look forward to is not pleasant. But the good news is that Jesus loved me enough to lay himself down. He took my mess and he put his righteousness in its place. And so, as I understand that and appreciate that more, it should catalyze greater love, not just to me, but through me to others. I hope you come here and you feel the love of Jesus pouring into you. I hope you come here and get fed and you learn. But more than that, I hope you come here and you get equipped and you get encouraged, not just to feed yourself, but to feed others, not just to experience the love of God for yourself, but to be a conduit so that others around you can know what it means to be loved by God. That's pastoral. Good news, low battery warning. This distinction also is evangelistic in the way it plays out. I challenged you last week. Who's the one that you're going to bring to Jesus in 2026? Who is it? Have you got them in mind? I mean, I told you a week ago, what have you done? Have you moved toward them? Have you begun to love them like Jesus loves you? Being a pastoral culture, in so many ways, starts with our recognition of God's love for us and the way he intends for it to pour through us onto others so that we can reach them with the good news of the gospel. These are the things that will make us distinct as a church. We don't want to be distinct because we're religious. Please, no. We don't want to be distinct because we're relevant culturally. Our distinction comes as the world around us observes how we care for and love other people. That's where it starts. So if you came here looking for religion, I'm sorry, you won't find it. If you came here looking for Jesus, I think you will find him here. If you came here looking for an opportunity to be challenged and encouraged and equipped to go love the world, that's really what I want for us all. This is the armory. We come here and we get our munitions and we get our marching orders from God, not so that we can just stay in our comfortable seats and drink our hot coffee, in my case, overly creamed coffee, and enjoy the show. No, we come here and we get ready for the battle that is waging all around us for the souls of mankind. We get ready for the opportunities that God has prepared for us to go out and love the world in ways that cause them to come in faith to Jesus for rescue. That's a pastoral culture.